If you look at a globe today, the lines are set in stone. We know where Russia ends and China begins. But if you were to walk into a dusty attic and find a map from before the mid-19th century, you might see something that shouldn't exist according to our history books. Spanning from the Caspian Sea to the Pacific Ocean, covering millions of square miles of the vast Eurasian steppe, there is a name that appears in bold, elegant script: Tartaria. It was once described as the largest empire on Earth, complete with its own flag, its own emperors, and a sophisticated culture that maps from the 1600s and 1700s treated as a global superpower. But by the year 1850, Tartaria didn't just fall, it vanished. It was scrubbed from the maps, erased from the encyclopedias, and deleted from the collective memory of the West. This isn't just a story about a changing world, it's a story about the last man who dared to draw it, and the terrifying silence that followed his final stroke of the pen. In the early 1800s, mapmaking was the most dangerous and prestigious profession in the world. To be a cartographer for the great powers was to hold the keys to the kingdom. One man, an obsessive genius working in the shadows of the European courts, became the world's leading authority on the Grand Tartary. While his colleagues began to simplify their charts, removing the borders of Tartaria and replacing them with the expanding colors of the Russian and Chinese empires, this man refused. He claimed to have access to older, deeper sources, scrolls that described cities of white stone, and a network of trade that bypassed the Silk Road entirely. He wasn't just drawing a place, he was documenting a civilization that he believed was the true foundation of the modern world. By 1845, the pressure began to mount. A new global order was rising, one defined by the Industrial Revolution in the hard borders of colonial expansion. The mapmaker was summoned to a private meeting with imperial officials. They didn't ask him to change his maps, they ordered him to destroy the copper plates used to print them. They told him that Tartaria was a myth, a geographical misunderstanding that had persisted for too long. But the mapmaker knew better. He had seen the correspondence from travelers who described massive star-shaped fortresses and a people who possessed a strange, atmospheric energy. He realized that he wasn't being corrected, he was being used to facilitate a massive global reset of history. As the year 1850 approached, a strange phenomenon began to occur across the globe. We call it the Great Disappearance in cartographic circles. Within a single decade, the name Tartaria was systematically replaced in every major atlas in London, Paris, and New York. It was as if a giant hand had reached down and wiped the slate clean. Our mapmaker, now a man possessed, went into hiding. He retreated to a small, isolated cabin in the mountains, taking his final, most detailed map with him. This map didn't just show borders, it showed the internal infrastructure of a world we are told never existed. It showed a grid of power, a series of towers that he claimed allowed for instant communication across the steppes. The suspense in his small cabin must have been suffocating. Neighbors reported seeing black-clad figures watching the house from the tree line. In the winter of 1850, a fire broke out. When the local authorities finally reached the smoldering ruins, the mapmaker was gone. There was no body, no signs of a struggle, and most importantly, no maps. Every piece of paper, every journal, and every copper plate had been reduced to ash, or perhaps taken by those who had been watching. Historians tell us that Tartaria was simply a catch-all term for the unknown regions of North Asia, a mistake made by ignorant European explorers. They say it faded away naturally as our knowledge grew. But that explanation doesn't account for the precision of the old maps. It doesn't explain why a misunderstanding had a national flag recognized by the U.S. Navy as late as the 1960s. And it certainly doesn't explain what happened to the men who refused to stop drawing it. We live in a world where the map is the territory. We believe what we see on the screen or the printed page because we trust the architects of our information. But if you look closely at the maps from 1850, you can see the ghosts of a deleted empire hiding under the fresh ink of the Russian frontier. The last mapmaker didn't lose his way. He found something that was never meant to be seen by the eyes of the new world. He didn't just draw a map, he drew a target on his back, proving that the most dangerous thing you can do is remind the world of a history it has been ordered to forget. The lines on our maps tell us where we are, but they also tell us exactly what we are not allowed to find. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.